Hello, I am Tiffany and this is my channel, Thriving Lively. And I just wanted to talk today about what the Starch Solution is and what foods to eat and what foods to avoid and just kind of how I set my meals up just for success. I have been doing this a little over 7 weeks. I've lost around 12-ish pounds, give or take, and if I have found this way of eating so easy to stick to. I am always full. I feel great. My napping has gone down quite a bit. I have known for the naps that I take because I have 2 kids and I have some health problems and I nap a lot, and I've actually been napping a lot less, so it's a big deal in my house. I highly recommend everyone reading and getting the McDougall program and the Starch Solution. Both are by Dr. McDougall, and they are really good resources for the Starch Solution. Obviously this one, because that's where this way of eating has come from. I also recommend How Not to Die by Dr. Greger. He's an amazing, just like an amazing man. He does it all for charity, and he really looks at the studies of like health and just kind of tells you what you're putting in your mouth. So highly recommend getting that one, and I'll link these below. I also really recommend everyone watching Plantiful Kiki, High Carb Hannah, Chelsea Mae Cullen, and Run With Plants. Those are the 4 Starch Solution women that I follow on YouTube who are just amazing. They are so resourceful. I get so much information from them, and it's really helped me along my journey. And just go follow them. I bought the Starch Solution book years ago, apparently, on my Kindle, and I don't know if I ever read it, but I was feeling like I needed to get back on track, and so I started looking up YouTube videos on just like plant-based diet, the nutritarian diet, and I ran across Plantiful Kiki, and her personality, she's funny, she's like energetic, she's just like great, and I just an ode to Plantiful Kiki. So yes, definitely follow her and the other women. They're amazing. So anyway, I will get started. The Starch Solution is a plant-based diet, and so I'm going to kind of talk about the foods that you're not going to be eating or that you shouldn't be eating if you were trying to follow this. It is really important that you cut out a lot of like fatty things that have like cholesterol and that are really calorie dense, and things that just don't promote good health. And so those things are like any kind of meat, so you have your pork, your beef, chicken, anything like that, fish, and then also anything that like an animal makes. So any milks, yogurts, ice creams, anything from cow's milk, butter, anything like that you want to stay clear of. And then you also want to stay clear of all oils. So whether it be like olive oil or coconut oil or avocado oil, you don't want to include those in your cooking. They are adding a lot of empty calories, and you're not really getting that much benefit from it. I know a lot of people like the taste of things that are cooked in oil or sauteed in oil, but you're just not able to eat as much. And I am a volume eater, so I want all the food. Really easy for me to give up the oil. Also, when you're trying to lose weight, you are going to want to stay away from things like avocado or like hemp seeds or chia seeds, like lots of them. I use flax every day because it's really good for your digestion and it's also good for your brain, but I use like a tablespoon in my oats every day. But for the most part, those are the foods you're going to want to stay away from. So anything that's animal-based or any kind of oils or really fatty things. What you are going to be wanting to eat is lots and lots of starches, non-starchy vegetables. So for your starches, you have like your white breads, your flour tortillas, like regular noodles for like spaghetti noodles, things like that. And then it kind of like gets more intact or whole food based as you go along. So then I have like my whole wheat spaghetti, my whole wheat bread, and then I have my corn tortillas. And I use a lot of these because I love tacos. So those are kind of your like transition, you're transitioning into eating more starches. And not that like you can't eat them all the time or ever like throughout this, it's just you want to kind of limit anything that's more processed. You really want to aim for a whole foods, plant-based diet. So a lot of people on the Starch Solution will eat a lot of like rice. And so I have brown rice. I also use jasmine rice. I kind of like will alternate them. I ate brown rice. I've been eating brown rice since I was a teenager. My mom always served us brown rice. So I don't miss white rice. Jasmine rice is really good though. So I do use that, and it's the white version of it. But if I'm making like an Asian dish, I will throw that in there. And my daughter tends to like it better also. 1 or 2 grains that aren't used very often. Ooh, I got something green on me. So 2 grains that aren't used very often or talked about very often is farro. This is Italian farro, and then barley. And they're both delicious. Like if you've ever had beef and barley soup when you were a kid, or some kind of barley soup, I love barley, and they're both nuttier and chewier than rice. You get more for the same amount of calories. They have more fiber, more protein than rice, even the brown rice. And this barley is actually pearled, so the husk has been taken off. It's not an intact starch or grain, but it is delicious. And my kids tend to like those better than the brown rice anyway, so I am starting to cook more with those. And then like you have beans and lentils, and these are really good sources of protein, and they are good in soups or stews or curries or just like black bean tacos. Really, really great to incorporate into your starch meal. And then, excuse me, every day I eat steel cut oats or rolled oats, depending on if I have steel cut oats made or not. So I tend to just batch make these or batch make this in the fridge for the week, and then but I use rolled oats a lot. So obviously everyone knows, or not everyone I guess, but a big thing that people eat on the Starch Solution is potatoes. And so these potatoes are, this is a sweet potato and this is a sweet potato. They're both very different in shape, but they're both sweet potatoes, and they're both really, really good for you. They have tons of nutrients in them, and regular potatoes also have tons of nutrients in them, and they're really good for you. So these are just russet potatoes. The key to getting the most nutrients for your like plateful, I guess, is to eat them with the skin on. If you don't really, if your focus is more just on like losing weight and you don't like the skin, then by all means peel them, you know, whatever. But if you're trying to get some like really good nutrients in, like the fiber, which is always really good for you, keep the skin on if you can. So those are kind of like my basic starches that I use right over here. And then the things that I use right now, especially because it's summertime, for my non-starchy vegetables are like zucchini. And this one came from my garden. Doing a garden this year, the little end just came off. Anyway, so we've been eating tons of these. And then my little tomato. Anyway, we're having a little problem with our tomatoes this year, but that's all right. And then this is like yellow squash or crookneck squash. Did I say that right? Also really delicious. I like to add these to my greens in the morning. I eat steamed kale and steamed cabbage almost every day, and this I just like have been throwing in there too, and it's delicious. Broccoli, we eat so much broccoli every day. Like we probably buy broccoli twice to 3 times a week. Usually we get the heads, but I forgot to order them last time, so we got these, and we just like fill our plate full of these. My daughters both love broccoli. It's a little sweeter once you steam it, and we steam it for just like 9 minutes till it's a little bit tender. Cauliflower has been getting a lot of praise lately, and it is amazing to cook with. You can make sauces, you can make tacos with it, like you can just put it on the grill or roast it or just eat it raw. It's great. Cauliflower is an amazing vegetable. Lots of vitamin C, which is good right now for immune health. Like everyone's trying to keep healthy. And then fruits, you are allowed fruits on this way of eating, or he recommends having like 2 to 3 fruits if you're trying to lose weight or if you're like stuck. There's bananas, nectarines, and plums that we have been eating lately just because they are in season. We went through a bag of cherries yesterday and watermelon, although because I've been ordering my food, I don't know who's picking up the watermelon because it was not good. It was not good. So yeah, those are kind of just like the basic things that I eat, and I don't get bored of any of this at all. I think that, you know, as the season changes, you get to try more food, so you're only eating like the same thing for a couple months at a time. But for me, having the same thing every day or almost the same thing every day keeps things very simple. I like know what to prepare. I can have it ready and prepped, and it makes it easier and I'm more compliant with it. I learned about this through watching Plantiful Kiki, and then he also talks about it in the book, just kind of setting how you set your plate up. And so if you have a plate, you know, you put a couple, you fill it with starch, and then you fill the other part with a non-starchy vegetable and maybe a fruit. And that's kind of what your plate should look like, although, you know, prepared. But that's kind of what you're aiming for. And you can add sauces. You can do, I use ketchup on my potatoes. We use barbecue sauce. I make sauces. Plantiful Kiki and High Carb Panda both have really good cheese sauces. You know, cheese because they're vegan, they're made from potatoes and carrots. I am in the middle of making it's not cheese sauce, from cauliflower, and so there's lots of things that you can put on these. You can use any kind of seasonings that you like. I had been following Dr. Furman for many years, and because of my health, I can't have a lot of salt. So I don't tend to salt things very much. You can have salt if you want to. Dr. McDougall recommends to add the salt or any sweetener like as you are dishing your food up, not while you're cooking, because it'll limit the sodium that you're taking in. But it also gives your food a nice little flavor. So I do sprinkle a little bit of salt on my potatoes. When I have soup, I'll sprinkle a little bit on top. But I tend to buy everything with no sodium or no salt, or like less sodium. So anyway, that was my version of what is the starch solution and what does it entail, and kind of just what I tend to eat on a regular basis to be, you know, compliant and successful with this. I hope it was informative and that you got something out of it. I will try to link all the YouTubers that I follow and the books that I recommended, and let me know if you have any questions. Thank you.